Long ago, in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, there was a planet that was not like any other. This world was not made of rock or dust, nor was it shaped by time or the hands of gods. No, this world was a machine, a massive planet-sized device buried deep in the dark fabric of space, lost to all but the oldest stories. The stars around it whispered, though only those who listened with careful ears could hear them. The ancients called it Ishka, the sleeping giant, a machine built by a long-forgotten race of beings who had disappeared from the universe eons ago. Some said it was a city, others called it a weapon, but no one knew for sure what it was or what it did. Legend spoke of its enormous size and strange power, but most believed it was nothing more than an old tale, a myth of the ancient stars. That was until one day when everything changed. The first explorers came from a distant star system, their ship called the Echo of Time. They were searching for answers as all explorers do, chasing mysteries and chasing the old stories told around campfires. Their captain, Zora Tellis, had heard of the giant from the stories of her grandmother, who had once sailed across the galaxy and seen things no other eyes had. She often whispered of the sleeping giant, how one day it would wake up and call upon the universe to come, for it had a message to deliver. It was on the edge of the Taru Nebula, where the light from the nearest star barely touched the darkness, that they found it. The planet, buried in the endless void, shimmered faintly as though it had been asleep for millennia, dreaming of forgotten times. The explorers approached cautiously, the silence of space wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. There was no sound, no feeling, just the cold expanse. But then something stirred. The surface of Ishka began to glow, faint lines of light running like veins across its rocky surface. Zora, standing on the bridge of the ship, could hardly believe her eyes. "Captain," one of the crew members called out, his voice trembling, "it's waking up." The ground of the planet cracked open with a sound that echoed across the stars, and from within an enormous, smooth dome rose. It shone like silver in the dim light of the distant star. A low hum filled the ship's communication systems, a sound like ancient music, both eerie and beautiful. "We have to land," Zora said, her voice filled with awe. "We have to find out what this is." The Echo of Time made its way down to the surface, its engines firing to slow their descent. As they landed, a strange force seemed to press down on them, as if the planet itself were waking up with them. The ground shook, but not with violence. Rather, it felt like the world was stretching and yawning, much like a tired giant stirring from a long slumber. The explorers disembarked, their boots crunching against the metal surface of Ishka, which now seemed more like a grand ancient structure than a planet. The air was thin but breathable, and an unnatural stillness hung over the land. No wind, no sound of life, just the soft hum of the planet's awakening. Zora led the team through the winding paths of towering metal structures that rose like mountains from the ground. The walls shimmered with symbols and writings none of them understood. These weren't the markings of any known civilization. They were too old, too strange. "Look at this," one of the crew members whispered, pointing to a series of symbols glowing faintly on the side of a massive tower. "This doesn't belong to any known language." Zora stepped forward, her hand brushing against the markings. They were warm to the touch, pulsing with an energy that seemed to resonate with something deep inside her. And then suddenly a voice, soft but clear, rang out in the air. "Who dares awaken me?" it asked, not in words but in a deep, echoing thought. It was as though the voice came from the very fabric of space itself. Zora froze, her heart racing. She felt the weight of the universe press against her chest as the voice echoed in her mind. We are explorers," she replied, her voice steady despite the fear creeping up her spine. "We came to understand who you are." The voice hummed again, and for a moment the silence returned, but it was different now. There was a deep, ancient understanding in the air, as if the planet itself recognized her words. Then the ground beneath their feet shifted, and a new sound filled the air. It was a song, soft, haunting, and full of longing. It was a melody unlike any other, one that seemed to be woven from the very stars themselves. "I am the messenger," the voice said, and with it came a strange vibration in the air, as if the planet itself was speaking through the music. "I have waited for millennia. And now I shall send my message." The explorers stood still, captivated by the music and the voice, which now spoke clearer than ever before. "I have seen the rise and fall of stars, the birth and death of worlds," the voice continued. "I have watched as civilizations flourished and crumbled. And now the time has come for you to learn what lies beyond your understanding. For I am the message that the universe has forgotten. And I will awaken again when the stars align." Zora's mind raced. What did it mean? What was this message, and why had it been waiting for so long? Before she could ask, the ground trembled again and the hum grew louder. "I am not finished," the voice warned. "But the time is not yet right. You will learn soon enough." And just like that, the humming stopped. The glow from the planet faded, leaving the explorers in darkness once more. The voice, the message, it had vanished as quickly as it had come. The explorers stood in stunned silence, the weight of the ancient voice still lingering in their minds. Zora looked out over the horizon, where the glowing dome of Ishka now seemed to rest, once again silent and still. But she knew one thing for sure: the sleeping giant had not awakened by chance. And whatever it had to say, it would change everything.
Hey there! If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our exciting adventures. Now let's get back to the mystery.